It's currently $3 trillion as an industry. If I extrapolate out the rate of growth, the trend rate of adoption is twice the speed of the internet. As the internet slowed down in adoption rates because it gets more saturated, if we extrapolate the same, we get to about 4 billion users by 2030. So I think the asset class goes to $100 billion, and we're only 3% of the way there.
Bitcoin Zella stands out with its simplicity and clarity. We've crafted an experience that anyone can dive into, whether you're a crypto expert or just a new to the crypto world. Now guess who keeps his eye on us? The author of best-selling book Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. And we want to take this opportunity and thank all the people who trusted us, and we read every comment. And the best part, it's free. Subscribing now means you will get all new information for free. Don't just follow the trends, stay ahead of them. Subscribe to Bitcoin Zella today and enjoy the new edge. In this video, Raoul unveils his bold prediction of crypto soaring to $100 billion, sharing insights on market dynamics, adoption trends, and the next big wave. Let's catch him up to know more.
What's unique about this technology is there's token incentivization built in, which is why these networks bootstrap so fast. It's currently $3 trillion as an industry. If I extrapolate out the rate of growth, the trend rate of adoption is twice the speed of the internet. As the internet slowed down in adoption rates because it gets more saturated, if we extrapolate the same, we get to about 4 billion users by 2030. So I think the asset class goes to $100 billion, and we're only 3% of the way there. So this is the largest, fastest accumulation of wealth in all human history that lies ahead of us. It's the big rebalance, how everybody can get involved, whichever country you're in, however much you earn, right? So it's the big one, the biggest macro trade of all time. That's primarily my interest in the trade. The whole space is driven by network adoption. More people join the network, the more applications that get built, the more valuable these networks become. Beyond that, it's then broken down to different companies or projects selling block space. That's all they do, which is a data storage and essentially that block or distributed ledger. And they've all got a different sales approach. Bitcoin has, we're the most trusted, we're secure. Ethereum is like, we're the broad big one. Solana's like, we're the fast retail. So everyone is selling block space. But again, we're all incentivized to get passionate behind these things because of the tokens. This whole thing is being driven by a big macro trend. The big macro trend is the debasement of currency. So as liquidity gets pushed into the markets every 4 years when the governments go and roll their debts, this is driven by everything I call the everything code, some work that I did showing that every 4 years governments need to refinance their debts. And what they do is inject massive liquidity to be able to do it and try and get interest rates lower. So as we do that, it creates a perfect 4-year cycle. And it's not going to go away until we get rid of the debt equations and everything else. So where are we in the 4-year cycle? I break them down by seasons, each year being a different season. Okay, winter being when liquidity is being taken away, 2022. 2023, spring. Okay, markets stop going down. People don't quite believe it yet, but you see green shoots coming, but it still feels a bit wintry and cold and miserable. Then summer, which is what we're finishing now. Macro summer is year 3, same year as the election cycles. And then we go into macro fall or autumn, crypto.
Yeah. When if we were trying to time
Beginning of the year. So it's just an annual cycle.
When you see?
It's the beginning of the year. We go into the next, the fall or the autumn cycle. That's usually the most explosive.
The beginning of next year.
Yeah. And that's usually the most explosive. So summer starts to rip, and then we hit what I've called the banana zone, which is when everything goes banana.
And how long will the banana zone last for?
That depends on global liquidity. Normally it lasts until about November because of this cycle. It lasts until November, and we have different structures of these cycles. We had the last one, which it usually has a peak around tax season. So March, people have to sell some tokens to pay taxes. It falls for a bit and then it rips at the end of the year. Last time it fell 50% over that period in 2021. And then it ripped, but it didn't really extend and everyone kind of got caught out by it was double top.
Bitcoin's price has surged by 2.65% in the last 24 hours, reaching approximately $102,645 as of December 14, driven by a combination of institutional developments and market optimism. A major catalyst is MicroStrategy's inclusion in the Nasdaq 100 index, a prestigious benchmark for leading non-financial companies. MicroStrategy's 2024 rally, fueled by its massive Bitcoin holdings, has positioned the company as a bridge between traditional finance and the cryptocurrency world. This development reinforces Bitcoin's integration into Wall Street, drawing attention to its growing relevance as a strategic asset. Another factor boosting Bitcoin's price is the influx of capital into US-based spot Bitcoin ETF over 2 weeks. These funds have seen cumulative inflows rise to a record $35.60 billion, reflecting increased institutional demand. MicroStrategy's recent purchase of 21,550 BTC and Mary Holdings' acquisition of 11,744 BTC further underscore the expanding role of institutional players. Political developments are also fostering optimism. Proposals like Senator Cynthia Lummis' plan for a U.S. Bitcoin reserve and Texas initiatives to hold Bitcoin as a state asset signal growing governmental interest. Despite its recent gains, Bitcoin faces technical resistance near $103,000, with analysts warning of a potential pullback to $97,500 or even $89,500 if the current rising wedge pattern resolves downward.
Bitcoin usually leads in spring and summer,
Which is now,
and then Bitcoin dominance falls and alt season starts,
in a couple of months.
which is
When you say alt season, is that utility tokens, meme coins, or both?
it's probably everything.
Everything, okay.
It almost doesn't matter, including all the dead tokens. My guess is even stupid shit like Luna will go up, 5x. Why? Because it's now a meme about the broken cycle last time. Who knows what goes up? It gets crazy season, is the point. So that Bitcoin dominance part of the cycle, that starts dropping from here, and then we start having the old season. But nothing structurally looks different. In fact, it's very similar when you map the charts, very similar to the 2016-17 cycle, and not dissimilar to the last one.
So one thing, I'm a very simplistic person when it comes to the markets, predicting the markets. Far from an expert. All I say, my only thesis, which Scott Melker, a mutual friend we have, he likes my thesis. I'm very simple. I think unless there's something fundamental is different, history will continue repeating itself time and time again. But that means everyone's expecting the cycle to end in November. So I think when everyone expecting it to end in November,
They've all got PTSD, all of them. You go on X and ask people where they think Bitcoin peaks out. My guess is most answers are 150,000. Well, it's 93,000 as we're speaking. And that's not very... And most people are worried that it's going to peak early. So the PTSD, the collective trauma, is it's not going to go as high as you expect. I need to sell early to take some chips off the table.
Yeah.
And that's when normally you get a correction. Everyone says, thank God for that. And then it rips and everybody's calm.
so I got it.
And I've seen that so many times. It's like, oh shit, I sold too soon.
But do you think when that cycle repeats itself, it drops significantly and then rebounds heavily and it rips? But that, we expect it to peak end of next year.
Yes.
With everyone...
Where?
Okay, and I'd expect it to end a bit earlier than previous cycles because everyone's expecting it to end at a certain month because they want to preempt it and end it before.
Not if they pre-sold because they... You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got it.
Because then they keep ripping. And we've got new buyers now. We've got sovereigns. We've got giant family offices. We've got Middle East. We've got US government potentially. We've got...
Wait, do they even know about the 4-year cycle in your opinion?
Christ, I've talked a lot about it. Yes, I think a lot of them do. I think they realise it's a very cyclical asset. It's like tech stocks. It's very similar. They understand the volatility and they understand it's mainly 4 years. But there's a whole bunch of people who won't care, like the pension plans, because that's not their time horizon. Their time horizon is 10 years, 20 years. So they don't care about it. So most of those guys aren't really in yet, but they're likely to be buyers later in the cycle because they're not the fastest to pull a trigger. And so they might push the extended rally at the end of it as they come in.
How big of a difference do you think Trump's election has made to the industry?
In terms of the long-term trend of adoption, 0. In terms of speed, a lot. A lot. I mean, every single senior person in that administration is talking crypto all day.
Elon Musk's intensifying clash with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, has sparked a wave of backlash from influential figures, including Ripple's chief legal officer Stuart Alderodi, venture capitalist Chamath Palihapitiya, and politician Vivek Ramaswamy. Musk recently shared a letter from his attorney, Alex Spiro, accusing the SEC of harassment and coercive tactics aimed at pressuring settlements through threats of fines and charges. Spiro's letter further highlighted a subpoena against him and an investigation into Neuralink, questioning whether these actions were influenced by political directives, including potential pressure from the White House. Palihapitiya criticized the SEC's misuse of taxpayer resources, warning that unchecked regulatory overreach creates legal barriers for those without Musk's financial resources. Ramaswamy echoed these concerns, arguing that the SEC's frequent courtroom losses expose a pattern of unconstitutional enforcement. Ripple's Alderodi reinforced these critiques, citing judicial findings that the SEC manipulates legal interpretations to achieve desired outcomes. As SEC Chair Gary Gensler prepares to step down in January 2025, his successor, Paul Atkins, promises a potential shift toward more lenient cryptocurrency regulation. This transition is expected to redefine the agency's priorities, fueling debates over the balance between effective oversight and stifling innovation. If you've been with us so far, a big thank you. Don't forget to subscribe for free to BitcoinZella for your daily news. The link is waiting below. That's all for today's crypto news. Stick around for more updates, insights, and analysis on cryptocurrencies. Share your thoughts in the comments, like this video, and subscribe for more exciting content.